Hi, and thanks for joining us here at Rose Quartz Mediumship, where we love anything and everything healing and metaphysically based. I recently had a day where an individual who's in my reality was sitting in a lot of chaos. And I was supporting them, asking them questions, helping them to process what it was that they were feeling. And as the hours kind of rolled on and I recognized that a good portion of my day had been sitting in the energy of chaos, I began to really ask myself, what in me is resonating with chaos? And if you know me, if you've taken any of our courses or you've done any one-on-ones with me, you know that I'm a huge believer of asking a couple of questions. One question is, why is this showing up in my reality? And what is the lesson attached to it? And so those are the questions that I really started to sit with. I believe wholeheartedly in law of attraction, meaning the energy that I'm putting out into the universe is what I'm attracting back. That doesn't need to be anyone else's truth, but that's my truth. And it's something that I feel really solid in, and I have a pretty deep understanding of. And so as a result, when there are things going on in my reality, even if they're not directly occurring with me, to me, involving me, if they're in my reality, at some level, I'm an energetic match for them. And so I believe hugely in asking myself, why? What is the part of me that resonates at this vibration? What is the part of me that is more comfortable in chaos? What is the part of me that is on some level attracting this? And so I did a meditation really to look at that specifically. And I did the meditation in the form of a somatic meditation. So I sat with that question, I went into meditation, and as I sat there holding the energy of chaos in my reality, I began to notice what part of my body was feeling more activated, more alive. That's the part of my body that was resonating with chaos. And so as I was just silent and holding the energy of chaos and just trusting that the part of my body that resonated and held a story about chaos would show up. And it did. And it was actually a little bit surprising to me. The area of my body that was the most activated were my feet. And so as I just sat with that energy, I noticed that my mind tried to come in and process it. And so I just noticed about myself that I didn't want to be looking at this chaos because mind was trying to get my attention. My mind was trying to pull me out of the experience of looking at this chaos. And so I just noticed it inside of myself, and then went back to being with the chaos that I could feel in my feet. And as I really sat with that, it didn't take long at all for me to get this beautiful download that chaos has been something that grounded me into the human experience. Because I'm somebody who spends a lot of time with one foot in both worlds, meaning I have a really deep connection with spirit, oftentimes I end up out in the spiritual realm. And chaos will ground me intensely into the human experience, away from the spiritual realm. And so it was almost a little bit funny to me when that story that my body was holding came forward. The story that my body was holding was really that chaos grounds me into being human. That is definitely not the kind of grounding into the human experience that I want or need in my life. And so I just saw the story, and I felt the story, and I was with the story, and I loved the story because at some point in time, I needed that story. That was a story that served me and that was trying to protect me at some point in my life. But at this point in my life, it actually does not serve me. And it's not a story that I wanted to continue to hold into my body. And so as I was just with that story, loving it, I felt it release. And that's one of my favorite things about the somatic world, is that it's incredibly powerful at releasing old stories that you hold in your body. And after that story released, after that energy that had been held in my body released, I was really with the shift in sensation that happened inside of my body. And I spent some time really grounding into, what did I want to ground me into the human experience? And the answer came so quickly. It was love. I wanted to be grounded into the human experience with love, with deep, meaningful connection with my children, with my partner, with my family, with my friends, with my clients. I wanted to be grounded into this human experience with love. I didn't need it to be chaos that grounded me into the human experience. What kept me present and in presence could be love. It could be this beautiful connection that I have readily. I have an abundance. I have so much love in my life. I'm super blessed. And so the new story that I really wanted to ground into my body is that if I was looking for a ground into the human experience, I could be grounded here with love. And so I just allowed myself to feel that. I allowed that story to show up in my reality, to show up in my body, to show up in my energy. And I began to really ask myself, what would my day be like if I grounded into the human experience with love rather than chaos if I was feeling ungrounded? How would I walk across a room? What would I choose to do with my time on a Saturday morning? What activities would I do with my children? What would I say to my partner? What kind of connection would I have with a friend or a client? And I just allowed myself to really feel that, to allow that story to take the place of the story that my body had been telling and holding around chaos. And I wanted to share this experience with you because I've looked at chaos a lot of different ways. And it's something that I have stepped farther and farther and farther from. And I couldn't be happier. I simply adore my reality when there isn't chaos there. And so there was a part of me that felt really frustrated by chaos popping up here and there. And I know that that's all part of the human experience. But when it rolls into multiple hours and it's not even your chaos, it's an invitation to start looking at why it is that you're immersing yourself in that. What part of you is attracting that? What part of you is holding a story about chaos and chaos being comfortable? And for me, finding the root of that story and getting to tell another one was incredibly empowering and powerful for me. And so I just wanted to share this with you in the event that you are somebody who has resonated with the vibration of chaos in the past, and you notice that even though you've done work around it, it's still kind of popping up. Using somatics as a way to get to the unconscious stories that are held in your body is such a powerful tool. And I will say that somatics has been really life-changing for me. And I would encourage you, or I would invite you, if you're drawn to it, to find a somatic practitioner. Not somebody who's just going to give you a couple of exercises, but somebody who's really going to be with you and walk you through the neurological background of somatics and how to really create a shift in your reality. Somatics is such a beautiful tool. And this experience is just one of thousands that I've had with somatics. And even though somatics is relatively new in my reality, it is life-changing. And I would invite you to explore it if it's something that you feel drawn to. I hope that you have a beautiful morning, day, evening, or night, wherever it is that this podcast is finding you.